Is Dr. Steven Greer spiritually dangerous? Let's look deeper. What's up, guys? This is Teresa Yanaros. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go on down there, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, hit all the buttons, do all the things. Today, we are talking about Dr. Steven Greer, the king of modern disclosure and ufology. I'm just kidding. I'm being hilarious. Maybe not. This is going to be awkward for me. We're going to go ahead and do this. I was sort of avoiding this video, but I realized that I probably should go ahead and speak to it. So for those of you who don't know who Dr. Steven Greer is, but if you're here on this channel, you probably already do. I'm going to read a little bit of his Wikipedia article that I'll drop down below for those of you who want to read more about it. So Dr. Steven Greer is an American ufologist who founded the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, also known as CSETI, and the Disclosure Project, which seeks the disclosure of alleged classified UFO information. Okay, so we're not going to get too much into all of his Wikipedia page. You can read it later. But he's very central when it comes to the UFO conversation, especially in America. He has a very popular documentary that's gone viral. He's a very big player in the game here. And I'm just going to preface all of this by saying that this is not an attack on him per se. I've actually met him a few times. I used to live in Virginia and we'd run into each other at the local coffee shop. This, and you guys know if you're here on this channel, we talk about spiritual warfare. So this is not an attempt to attack a person. This is just an arena of spiritual warfare that I feel intimately responsible for speaking to. And I do take this seriously. So I want you to know that that's my heart in this. It's been really hard for me to decide what things I really want to speak to, but this just jumped out at me as something that I need to speak to. So Dr. Steven Greer recently has released some new information. It seems like he's actually getting even more famous. And the idea behind all of this, like I've seen that he's had, what's her name? You guys probably are saying it into the screen right now as you're watching the video. What is her name? Demi Lovato? I think he had her on, what is her name? I think it's Demi, right? Lovato? She's a singer, right? Yeah, Demi Lovato. Okay, so Demi Lovato got really into occult practices too recently. It's a mess. Okay, sorry. We're just going to go ahead and speak to it. So that's Dr. Steven Greer. We're going to go ahead and dive into this recent video that he released, and let's get into it now. So this is breaking news streamed live on January 26th. And I bring this up because I want you to look at the number here. 147,000 people watched this live stream. This is a lot of people are really into this stuff. And this is why I'm doing the video. If it didn't have that kind of number, I'd think, okay, whatever. But people are bought into this narrative. And I have to say, locally, I'm hearing people bought into this narrative. I'm hearing people being completely destroyed by this narrative. And I laugh to keep from crying. Just kidding. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to stop blabbing at you. I'm at this point probably just avoiding hitting play. This is a long video. Okay. Let's see what is going to happen here. I have not watched this yet. So I'm going to be reacting live to this breaking news. And we're going to talk about whether or not Dr. Steven Greer is spiritually dangerous. Let's get into it.
News of Virginia this year.
Okay, good. Surviving. This is good to survive those snows. I am so glad I don't live in the north anymore. Yay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Dr. Greer, and welcome to everyone who is joining us today for this interview. Dr. Greer, thank you for doing this. And thank you for doing this to let the public know about some upcoming events and also about some exciting breaking news.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know, everybody needs to, if they can, join us the April 8th, 9th, and 10th in Scottsdale. We're going to be on a Native American land for a 3-day weekend. And there's a link, should be underneath here, but you can go to SeriousDisclosure.com and see that. The reason this is so important, I've been wanting to do this since Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind came out and the CE5 Contact app came out, to create a sense of community where CE5 people on teams all over the world could gather for an extended weekend and really network with each other. You do a deeper educational experience, and then every night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night,
I'm going to pause this for a second. So I'm going to define CE5, and I'll drop the link to where I got this from. So CE5, it's short for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It was actually coined by Dr. Steven Greer, adding to the well-known Close Encounters scale developed by the 20th century astronomer and ufologist J. Allen Hynek. So the first 4 kinds of contact are initiated by ETs. CE5 is human-initiated contact. So this is the whole narrative that Dr. Steven Greer is behind, is pushing this idea of human-initiated extraterrestrial contact, whether by strictly technological means or among the New Age by ESP, extrasensory ESP, extrasensory perception, such as meditation-induced telepathy or astral projection. So this is about altered states of consciousness. And from my background and my experience with this, I've gone to the hotspots, I've spent the time, I've done the CE5s, I've gone through all of this. And yes, you can get together with a group of people, you can go into altered states of consciousness, and you can basically draw things out of the sky. So the question becomes, what is this? What are these things that are happening? What are these things in the sky? And the interesting thing is that this is all around desire to know more. It's this desire to connect with a consciousness that is beyond us. This whole mentality is the belief in aliens, the belief in beings that are not us. And a lot of people think, like in this narrative, they think that they're us. They're just another us. This is a very New Age belief system of this allness of all the different beings from the different planets and the different dimensions and all of that. And what you find is that you're actually opening your mind up to connecting with demonic entities because you're leaning into receiving anything. There's no discernment. There's no that's really the whole sentence. I have nothing else on that. There's no discernment. People are so curious that they don't care what it is they're connecting with. And I'll tell you, demonic spirits, they will lie to you and they will tell you whatever it is that you're researching or you think that they are or they might be. They will deceive you and tell you that that's what they are until you realize that that's not what they are. So I'll just drop that there. And this is just a very preliminary preface on this, because don't take my word for any of this, because the more, please take my word on it. But anyway, I'm kind of nervous at what he's going to say because this stuff is so dangerous. Okay, let's see what else is going to happen here.
We're going to do the meditation, the CE5 contact protocols. The last night on Sunday, we're actually going to go out on the...
By the way, I'm sorry. I know he only said like a few sentences. A lot of this stuff it's cult programming, because you're pulling people then in that have a destabilized worldview, and then you're teaching them how to take all of the thoughts and belief systems that they've had, throw them out the window, clear their minds, go into altered states of consciousness. These people are more receptive to cult mind control, and people like Dr. Steven Greer and the like are the ones on the other side of that, installing the new belief systems. And the reason why this works so well is because when you're involved in the occult like this, you are on the side of Satan, supporting his signs and wonders. And when people see a sign and they see a wonder, they are primed for a directive, for someone to come in and explain this experience to them. And so it creates this this perfect arena for lies and deception. And for those of you who might need some material on this, Cults Inside Out by Rick Alan Ross, How People Get In and Can Get Out. This is highly recommended. Combating Cult Mind Control by Stephen Hassan. I highly recommend if you're involved in this type of material and you're either completely bought in or you're on the fence or you're not or whatever. These are good books to read because this stuff is so deceptive. Okay, let's continue.
Native American land at a place that they've put aside for us. And we'll do that night event under the stars. The other two will just be indoors because we can only get that spot for one.
So just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of how this normally goes down, a group of people will go out to a plot of land. A lot of times they bring in the Native American belief systems and rituals and hodgepodge of New Age ritual. And you get together and everybody is singing and dancing and you're doing this kind of this seance where you're getting into a certain state of consciousness where you're receptive, and then the group will go out and actually call down entities.
Night, but that'll be very exciting. Now, the good news about it is that it holds a fair number of people, but not everybody. So I just was handed something that said that nighttime event on Sunday, April 10th, I believe it is.
Holding some people, but not everybody. That is a marketing hook to be able to charge a lot of money. I know from experience that Dr. Steven Greer charges a lot of money for his events. When I lived in Virginia, he had a little retreat center outside of town where people would pay a premium to go spend time with him as he was developing and releasing these CE5 contact protocols and basically developing his cult, which I've learned we'll learn more about this, I think, in this video, but I've heard that he's actually bought quite a bit of land and could be, I'm not going to make any assertions yet. I'm just going to listen.
Is about 50 people shy of being filled up. So we can take more people in the conference in the hotel ballroom than we can take outdoors, unfortunately. So if you think you're going to want to come in person to that event on Sunday night, you probably want to register pretty quickly.
Yeah, see, this creates this funnel, and people want to get into these like inner circles. They've got this whole thing tiered, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna try not to get upset. I'm just gonna keep watching. I've seen this so many times, but unfortunately, the appeal is growing. It's getting to numbers that are very concerning to me.
We just announced this a couple of weeks ago, and I think the site we thought would hold more, and we just found out yesterday. We had members of our team who are organizing the conference go there in person and found out it actually will hold 200 people fewer than we thought. Therefore, if you do want to be out that night, because this will be exciting. Now, if you can't come in person, we have a team that will be webinaring it live. So the entire weekend, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and then Sunday night out on the native lands outside Scottsdale, we're going to have it webinared. And so what's great about that is that each night, and including the night out on the stars, if you're in some location where you can't travel or come in, you can be there virtually for the whole weekend. Or if you want, just that Sunday night, you can do either. So that's there's a link at SeriousDisclosure.com for you to go and.
Just a point on this, from my journalist background, this stuff is worldwide. People are really, really intrigued and interested in seeing these particular types of signs and wonders. And the fact that we have the internet nowadays and we can live stream, we can take this kind of dangerous occult content worldwide, streaming it to whatever numbers we want. And there's a lot of money in this. When you do live streams, people drop money because they support it, because there's a whole spiritually deceptive aspect where they think that they're actually like furthering the cause of this unlocking of consciousness and driving in the kingdom, the new era, the new age, if you will.
If you want to register for that, then the idea behind this is that people want an opportunity not only to experience this live together, but also if you're there in person, you can network with all the other CE5 teams and people from all over the world. And I think what's exciting about that, Pat and Justice,
and the lies spread, and this is how it works. When you get a group of people together and they're believing a lie about what it is that they're seeing, this is XYZ, fill in the blank, whatever the narrative is that's being perpetuated, then they can turn around and spread this lie to like wildfire to all the people that are watching worldwide. And so as you can see, it's like a virus that can spread very fast because of the internet.
Some team members in Texas and some other folks on Saturday morning and on Sunday morning are going to be doing workshops on forming teams, how people organize them, sort of the nuts and bolts. And then on Sunday, we're going to do an in-depth in the morning whole presentation on what I call trans-dimensional photography and video.
This is it's like church planting. So this is like religious at this point. If you really listen to what he's saying, it's creating these protocols, these parameters of how to connect spiritually with these spiritual beings, quote unquote, and creating a protocol and then dropping that into teams across however far and wide, and then teaching those tenets and then encouraging them to go out and teach them as well. It's spiritual multiplication of Satanism.
Videography. What does that mean? So you look at the videos and photos we have, those are highly interactive with consciousness. An interesting part of this is that the most amazing photos and videos we've gotten of actual ET beings in the field with us or nearby have been sort of activated with consciousness, but also the person doing the videography or photography is very good at connecting to those beings and asking permission and inviting them into.
Do you see that appeal to ego right there? That's pride. Though the person's so good at connecting with them. Did you hear that? This is a core. This is a key. With the new age, it's all about what the person can do. It's about personal abilities and spiritual advancement tied to the ability of the person.
The frame. Because as we've talked about before, if you're new to this, interstellar civilizations, most of the time when they're...
Let me just throw this out there. I was in contact with beings very strongly, receiving very strong messages and seeing them with my physical eyes. And people were jealous of that. And I'm like, why though? Because to me, it was extremely confusing. This is not an ability. When you open yourself up to evil, evil will come in. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter the protocol. It doesn't matter the CE5 contact protocol. It's a matter of desire and pride and arrogance, curiosity and sin, and leaning into that which is drawing you in to the powers of the world that are not here to bring you into true spiritual salvation. Oh, and I think I messed up.
Setting. It's very technical, and I honestly don't do cameras. I mean, I'm not.
Oh, it's so technical.
Give me a ventilator or a defibrillator, I'm fine. But the people who do this
Humble
are
brag.
going to be there explaining what the settings should be, so you can learn the expertise of how these images are being captured by people who actually know what they're doing, which excludes me, by the way. I understand the principles behind it, but I'm not a videographer or photographer by any means. So, and I credit everyone else who gets these photos and videos. I don't do that. I'm busy kind of running the whole program and doing the contact primarily. But
just really quick, so on this kind of cultural aspect of New Age ufology, everybody's taking pictures, everybody's trying to see things in things. And I bring up the concept of apophenia, and this is the human tendency to see patterns in random information. And then there's also pareidolia, which is like unrelated objects or patterns or synchronicities. And so there are distortions of human consciousness wherein we will look at images and construct some kind of meaning or abstract it into something like we're like, oh, this has to be concrete, but there actually is really nothing there of meaning or substance. I see this a lot in this particular brand of New Age UFO religion.
That's going to be very important for people to learn as sort of a hands-on workshops on Saturday and Sunday morning. And then the afternoons and evenings, we're going to be going deep into consciousness, the science of consciousness. On Sunday, we're going to have a whole afternoon session on what the counterintelligence operations are from the military and the intelligence community and the things that they can do to confuse people during CE5 contact. And so it's going to be a very in-depth weekend, Friday night, Saturdays.
And this is part of the, I think, the draw to this sort of disclosure UFO narrative is that they draw in some of the conspiracy media related to the military industrial complex and those kinds of things. And so there's a lot of like draw and intrigue when it comes to governmental conspiratology. That's a cool word. I think I just made that up. Maybe not, probably not. But yeah, so you can see this kind of psychobabble where they'll pull in things that there are facets of legitimacy in the world of research and disclosure, and then they tie it in or they draw it into this occult, very destructive form of occultism that is convincing people that this whole narrative actually draws them into something spiritual, thinking that it's a positive spirituality, but it's actually a negative spirituality.
Sunday, and it's going to be the pièce de résistance is that last night out under the stars. But as I mentioned, there are about 50 spots left for that, and we just recently announced it. This is unfortunate. I was hoping we could get more people on that site, but the reality.
It's also spell casting if you really think about it. This is legitimately witchcraft. If you know the definition, all of it. When you are going out with a group of people and you're casting an intention to connect beyond the veil and you are opening yourself up to these signs and wonders, you're creating a cesspool for negative spiritual engagement. And the thing about these negative entities, these demons, they're deceptive. They don't want you to think that they're evil. This is how they hook you, is that you start to believe that they're good. And you start to want more, and you are curious, and you want more signs, and you want more wonders. You also want to turn around, you want to brag to your friends. You see like how he's drawing this whole thing in, and it's very arrogant and what abilities do you have? Let's talk about the science of consciousness. What can you do? It's about what you can do to connect with these beings, like being good at it. These beings are strong. Demons are strong. If you don't have God on your side, you're playing with beings that are more powerful than you, and you don't have God fighting for you. And what I find is that in a lot of this is that the demons won't turn on you in this particular space because you're working in concert with them to bring more people into the pit.
Reality is it's going to be capped at about 450 people out there.
400
bumping up against that limit right now. We're at about almost 400. So I would encourage people to do that. And it's going to be exciting because what I'm hoping we can do, I'm going to ask some of our, big influencers who have, 100 million followers and whatnot.
He's probably talking about Demi Lovato. This is getting to a tipping point. 100 million followers. He's bringing 450 people in on this and then calling out to the influencers. This is modern occultism that is on the verge of being so I mean, it's sorry, I'm a little in shock right now. Not that I'm really in shock, because I could see this happening, but like,
not that are supporters of CE5 contact, to also put the link out so we can have a mass contact meditation that night. So however many people are out under the stars, there could be, 100 times that number.
These people get so delusional and arrogant in their delusion that they actually believe that with their consciousness, they can affect weather, they can affect people, they can do all these things. And the thing is, even if something works, that power that they're using, that they're harnessing, that's been given to them by Satan, it's to draw them and others further into that deception. And it's nothing but ego-driven. It's all about the power that they can harness and use to do what? They would say good, to do good. Oh, we're doing good. It's delusion.
Or 1,000 times that number, live, meditating around the world doing it, which, as everyone knows from seeing Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which, by the way, is up on Amazon Prime and everywhere still.
Give me your money.
That has this huge effect in consciousness, where people all over the world who don't even know you're doing this meditation are affected in the deep.
You're affecting people. You're affecting people's mind with your mind without them even knowing it. Do you hear how psychotic that sounds? Like, can we just talk about that for a second? Oh, let's just appeal to these people's egos, get 450 people in a field and tell them that if they think hard enough, the people of the world are going to change. Humans don't have that kind of power. Do you see the problem in this? He's not talking about God. There's no prayer. This is not meditation. What he's talking about right now, this meditation that he's talking about, this is not prayer. It's not. New Agers will say, oh, well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. Prayer is where you yield and surrender to God, who actually has the control. This mentality right here, this is saying this is all ego. It's satanic. You have the power. Let's talk about the science of consciousness of your mind, that you have the power to do these things.
It's part of the structure of higher consciousness that everyone is tied into, because the total number of minds in the universe is one.
And this is where you get into Christ consciousness and universal Christ. It is all connected. We are all connected. This is another occult hook. This is a trap, because Satan will come in and want, this is a lie of Satan, because once you start thinking that, there's no separation. What does that mean? What does that lead you to? There are no boundaries. When you start to dissolve boundaries, you start to dissolve. You start to dissolve in your mind. You start to dissolve in your character. You don't know what truth is. This right here is a very deceptive form of cult manipulation to draw people away from anchoring to truth, to get them to think, oh, there is no truth. It's this postmodern, let's just break this down, break it down. You're breaking down. People are dissolving, and then you can install whatever it is into their minds. As you guys know, in only 8 minutes, we've already seen so many threads of him wanting your money from the very, very get-go. What is this all centered around? It's around his events. It's around money. He's motivated.
It's a singularity. And so when there are that many people doing something with this intention, it not only affects the cosmos and facilitates peaceful, open contact with these interstellar.
And this is so sad that people get involved in this kind of stuff with good intentions. I sure did. You have good intentions. You've got a heart. You want to do good, and then you get looped up into this, and you're going hook, line, and sinker into occult practices, and it's a playground of demons. That's exactly what this is.
Civilizations and ETs, but it affects the planet. I mean, the baseline level of where all of space, time, matter, and people are fluxing in and out of this field of consciousness, the pure conscious field. So that's why doing this together is so important. I'm hoping we can do, maybe 2 or 3 of these each year. The other important thing is that right after that, sort of 2 days later, on April 12th until the 18th, for 6 nights after this 3-day conference, we found a location. It's only about 15, 20 minutes from the hotel where we're doing the...
Sorry, let me just say for a second, I did some quick math and I'm not a math girl, but let's just say that like these people that go to the conference that he's talking about, this Native American go out and powwow on the land, 450 people times, it's probably going to be like $200 a person. That's $90,000 just from what they would be paying for entrance. Let's say it's less than that, but I guarantee you it's more than that. I know how much these conferences are. In fact, they're probably paying $350. That's probably what they're paying. Okay, let's see. 450 times 350. That's $157,000. And he just said he wants to do 2 or 3 of these. Okay, hold on a second. Steven Greer CE5 event. Eventbrite. What's cosmic consciousness? Let's see. Someone might know this better than I do right now as they're watching this, and they know the amount. But that's insanity, guys. That is so much money. Like I said, there's a lot of money in this stuff. People are making a lot of money. There's a lot of motivation to lie to you. Okay. I'm done with my soapbox for the next 20 seconds.
Weekend. We're going to do an entire week-long expedition. Now, that's only going to be limited to about 25, 30 people.
And that right there, he's going to be charging a premium. These people are going to be paying $2 or $3 grand. This is the thing. You hook into however many people it is, and they are so addicted to not only the occult practices and the satanic signs and wonders, but they're addicted to the being around the fame. And he's got connections with Demi Lovato. He's going to be bringing it's this whole, it's a mess. Sorry. Okay.
And for people to come to that, we want people to either come to a previous week-long event or this conference.
Do you see that? It's the inner circle kind of thing. Oh, you can't even apply until you come to a previous event and probably have some sort of skill. They're going to tell you have a skill. Oh, my Lord.
Or a previous 3-day conference. Because we want to be sure that people coming to that are very experienced.
Yes.
It's a small group.
Like I said.
That I want to train eventually.
Oh, they have to train.
Those are going to feed into a program where we're going to set up people who are formal instructors of CE5 contact.
Formal
something
instructors.
I've never done that I know I need to do. And that's something I want to build that base for that.
This is modern Satanism. I don't get... Okay.
So these week-long events are now going to be people who are very experienced. So everyone will have been on a prior week-long event, or at least these 3-day intensives. And that's going to make for a much higher quality experience for a whole week in a small group.
And for your
out under the
pocketbook.
stars. And we'll be out in the
Doctor.
desert every night, all 6 nights. So that'll begin Tuesday night, the 12th, and go all the way through the 18th.
Yeah, those are very powerful, as you know. Lots of stuff happens on those. I mean, tons.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And we're going to be in a remote site that we've gotten clearance to in a park.
I'll just tell you guys, spoiler alert, I'll tell you what happens on these things, these events. lights in the sky, and they look like ships like you've never seen. They move like you've never seen. They blink in and out. They move in ways you've never seen ships move. Sometimes they look they come really close. They have all these different colors. I mean, you do see things. You do. This is the thing. This stuff is so deceptive because you actually see things. And when you go into these circumstances, these groups of people, it's ritualistic spellcrafting and casting, and it's witchcraft. It is leaning into opening your mind with a group of people to satanic signs and wonders. That's the core of this. And I'm not here to convince anyone. If you don't agree with me and you don't believe what I'm saying, there's not anything that I can say or do to convince you. And that's not what this video is about. The reason why I'm compelled to release this is for the people that are on the fence and for the people who have seen the evil in their lives. Because I will tell you from experience, not just my own experience, but from a lot of people's experiences that have gone through this same exact thing. This does not lead to a positive place. You can go, you can not go, you can get looped into this kind of thing, but it does not take you somewhere positive. It takes you somewhere extremely negative. And these people are manipulators that run this facet of American occultism. They are manipulating you. They want to take your drive for the truth and to distort that and lie.
That is, no one will have access to it.
I believe they're so blinded by the money and the power and all of this that some of them probably don't even, like, they're so blinded and deluded that they would not even like perceive that they're doing anything evil. They are completely bought in. They're so blinded by Satan that they are delighting in evil. They are delighting in the ego. They're delighting in the self as the God. And that is the core, that the core sin of all of this is pride, is the idea that we don't need God, that we don't need a relationship with God, that we're fine on our own going into whatever worldly vices that we want. And we think it's good for us, and it's not.
Except our group. So it's very interesting. And then during the day, we're going to be meeting in this huge remote house adjacent to this park, where we'll have afternoon sessions with the 25, 30 people who are there. So it's going to be really exciting for those who can stay on after the conference. So we just have
and yesterday. You know what? I have to say, it's cult snapping is what this is called. I get so heated and upset about this because this happened to me. Okay. I went to one of these conferences and I was, what do they call it? Recruited. I was recruited and I was invited to stay after the conference. All the same words he's describing right here, but he's doing it in front of 147,000 people that are all now pining to jump on this event. Think of that, 25 to 30 people. How much money are those people paying? Because I guarantee you it's going to be the ones that pay the most that are going to get to go in. It has nothing to do with how much experience they have. It's going to be whoever is going to drop the most cash. And they will also look at, like he said, influencers. He's laying it all out. He's telling you what's up. They bring in influencers and they identify people who have power, who seem to have a good persona, or they have a following or whatever. And those are the ones that they want to convince because it's spiritual multiplication. Then they'll turn around and they'll draw more people in. And then they get more money and they get more power and they get more fame and they get more greed and they get more and more and more and more. And this is the occult machine that keeps you going more and more and more because there's always more that you need to do, that you need to be, that you need to, it's all about you and what you can do and how you can grow in your abilities and your consciousness altering skills, and who you can connect with, how many more demons you can invite into your body, and how many more people you can convince to take down with you.
Figured out all the logistics on that and got them all nailed down. So that's why I'm announcing that. The registration for that has not gone out. This is sort of a preliminary announcement. This is coming, but people may want to mark that. And it's over that through that Easter weekend. This week-long event starts on Tuesday and goes.
Don't even get me started. These things always happen on certain dates.
All the way through to that Easter weekend. And the 3-day conference, the 8th, 9th, and 10th, is the weekend before Easter. So I hope everyone who can make it there will. And if you can't be there in person, join us virtually. That's how we build this morphogenic field effect, as Rupert Sheldrake talks about, where enough people begin to do something, it shifts everyone in a positive direction. And boy, do we need this planet to start shifting in a positive direction.
Yes, we do. Yeah, those things, when you get a lot.
Spiritual bypassing at its finest. Like, I'm going to sit in a field and I'm going to try to connect with ETs. And that's going to like shift the planet in a better way. Okay.
A lot of people like that in consciousness, in these moving into these higher states of consciousness. It literally affects their consciousness for a long time.
And people's lives are changed.
Absolutely.
And what you find is that people who do this with a group of people, and they've done these in studies with meditators, that if there's one person meditating, it has a certain effect for themselves and perhaps the environment, and say the field of consciousness. But when you have dozens of people, or in the case of this conference
here's the thing. You can have mental practices that help you. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to think positive thoughts. And yeah, it's going to make me feel better. Okay. There's a difference between mental practices and spirituality. And the problem with the New Age is that it tries to tell you that mental practices are spirituality. And so what you do is you hit this threshold where you're going like, oh, I'm a spiritual person, but really you're just thinking positively. That's not spiritual. That's a mental practice.
This weekend, hundreds of people doing it. It has an enormous effect. And this is,
when I go into a room and there are a bunch of positive, happy people, I'm pretty positive and happy too. Duh.
Back in the day, it was called the Maharishi effect, but where they found that if you sent a certain number, it was 1% of the population of a town in as people who understood meditation, higher states of consciousness, and they went in and meditated, that crime rates went down, ER visits go down, coherence goes up. And this is when the rest of the community has no idea that those people are in their town.
The New Age loves to use the same exact studies over and over and over again and just like regurgitate these things like, oh, science, 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 science. And then they like loop people into it. It doesn't make any sense. Like all the stuff that he's saying right now, like if you take that, what he's just talking about, and then you compare it to what he's inviting people into, it's like, that has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, spend all your money, come to this event, and go and learn how to go into an altered state of consciousness and connect with extraterrestrial beings. And improve the world.
So there is a well-documented effect on social behavior in a positive way. And this is sort of the power of meditation, prayer states, higher states of consciousness.
See, prayer, he brings in the word. It's this mishmash. We're going to call it a prayer state. That's not a prayer state. It's not a prayer state. You are using a mental practice and opening yourself up to demons and then trying to call it prayer. You're not praying to God. You are inviting demons. Period.
been very well documented in healing studies also, by the way.
Okay, yeah, now let's pull in more. Oh yeah, healing. Let's throw more data. So anybody that might be confused, let's throw some more data at them so that they're confused and they're going, oh, this sounds really good. Yeah, I want to be healed. I don't want to like actually have communication with God and ask God for anything. I want to think my way into healing. I don't need God. I don't want a relationship with God. I don't want actual prayer. I don't want actual relationship with Christ, with the living God. I just want to be down here in the trenches in this time of imperfection where we're just in a shadow reality or we're just immersed in sin. And I'm just going to lean more into sin and think that I can think my way into healing. And in fact, not only that, why don't you, Dr. Steven Greer and all you other New Age leaders, teach me how I can actually invite satanic signs and wonders and power and knowledge into my own being and life and think that this is the way that I'm going to actually get to eternal life, which is a lie.
This sort of effect of consciousness and meditative and prayer states on healing. But in our case, we're doing this to heal the planet and the body of humanity, let's say, in developing a future where we become interstellar citizens and ambassadors to the universe. You know, the whole CE5 contact program is called Ambassadors to the Universe, where people, you know, empower themselves. And that's what this weekend and the subsequent weeks.
Masters of the Universe, where people empower themselves. Do you hear that? You hear that? It's all about the self. It's all about you. And you know what? That is a lot of responsibility. You know what? You have to change the world. You have to take all of this on you. You need to be more powerful. You need to be more powerful. You need to go into those altered states of consciousness and you need to like suck in as much power as you can because your conscious mind, it's so powerful. And you know, we're all connected. So the more power you draw in, you can actually help everybody else too. That's how powerful you are. How powerful can you be? It's all about you.
It's about people empowering themselves to not just be passive conference junkies, because that's just tedious, but actually learn the skills and the knowledge needed to
he lays it, he wears this on his sleeve. Conference junkies. He kind of just gave himself away.
A citizen ambassador from Earth to these other civilizations that are waiting for that. I mean, I always tell people that they've been knocking on our front door, back door, side door for decades now.
What, the demons?
Since the atomic bombs first went off, wanting to get an appropriate, peaceful response from humans. And they have not gotten that, not even to this day.
Yeah, all of you humans, you need to be more docile when you're trying to connect with demons. Be real chill. Let the demons in, just be real cool. Just invite them in.
And the CE5 Contact Initiative, when I founded it in 1990, with the purpose of it was this concept of the everyday man on the street, woman on the street,
can be an occult
becoming
practitioner,
a liaison from humanity to these extraterrestrial civilizations, because the governments of the world have badly dropped the ball on this.
They've just been real bad about contacting the extraterrestrials.
And it's been, unfortunately, because of secrecy, been relegated to illegal covert programs that have made a complete mess of it. So this is where the responsibility for we, the people, steps in, not just for our own planet, our own country, but more importantly, for the future of humanity and its relationship.
Psychobabble, psychobabble, psychobabble.
With these other interstellar civilizations.
Oh, yes, yes.
And that time has really come where we can penetrate this.
Mm-hmm.
The technologies we have now with
he just needs a little bit more of your money,
and
then we can
various social media platforms,
mm-hmm.
and the ability to webinar events gives us the ability to really expand
Yes.
the reach and organizational abilities of
more
the
demons.
CE5
Yeah, just bring more demons. Yes.
And the contact that's happening,
the contact's happening
all over the world that I'm hearing about from team members is actually going up a lot because I think there is this quickening, let's call it.
Going up a lot. By the way, we're 15 minutes in, and what has he actually even said?
Awakening and deeper consciousness and knowledge is potentiating it.
Awakening and deeper consciousness and knowledge is potentiating. That sentence, what was in that sentence? Nothing. There's nothing in this information. This is just not.
So that's really why we want to have these in-depth conferences and then followed on by these week-long expeditions for people who've been to those and to previous week-long events. And eventually,
but don't be a junkie.
I hope we can
come to all our conferences, but don't be a junkie.
A program where people, on a long training period, become instructors of CE5 contact.
Priests and priestesses.
What everyone can do is get the app. I mean, if you're doing this, whether you're coming in person or privately, come to these experiences already trying out how to do it through the CE5 Contact app. And I think it's very important for people. We have, hundreds of thousands of people around the world doing this, millions actually.
Did you just say millions of people?
Teaches you how to do the meditation, the remote viewing, how to set up your team. If you really go through
By the way,
app
remote viewing. Okay, hold on. I've gone to a remote viewing workshop and it does work. And the thing is about it, it is literally witchcraft. You are taking sigils and you're imparting sigils into, okay, so he's got a CE5 Contact app that's $10. Should I do a video where I buy this app and go through the app and break this down? This app provides instructions and tools to assist you in making peaceful contact with extraterrestrial civilizations, as well as locating others in your area who are interested in making contact. Great. So you can have your little seance. This is literally inviting people to do seances together. Contact work can be done with just a chair and a quiet night. However, use of this app and recommended and or optional items listed below. Wait, did he just say millions of people are using the app around the world? Because the app is $10. Guys, you hearing what's happening here? Okay, I'm only 17 minutes into this video and I am an hour into my own video. So what I want to know from y'all is like, do you even like this? Because if you do, I'll do more. Wow, he probably didn't even really get into, I mean, maybe it's just going to be a bunch. It's probably nothing but this exact type of psychobabble. So this might be enough for you. But anyway, okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I hope that this served as maybe like a warning about these types of things. This stuff is very dangerous. And yes, I would say even just 17 minutes into this, 100% this stuff is spiritually dangerous. This is so bad. So anyway, people, spread the message on this. And let me know what you think down in the comments and what questions do you have for me. Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, my name is Teresa Yanaros. Welcome to my channel. Go on down there, hit the subscribe button. It's free. You can change your mind at any time, but it helps me out in the algorithm. And like the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.